Before we start, I want to mention that I had some problems with this printer because I tried to use some very old brittle filament which basically exploded inside the Teflon tubes. But overall this is not a bad printer and I don't want you to get the wrong picture, but I will include those footages here because usually you will not see these kind of things in the review videos, but it may be useful to somebody. Now let's jump into the video. Welcome to my tech fun, to another 3D printer review video. This is Anycubic Kobra S1 Combo, and this box is sent to me by the Geekbank in exchange for the review. This is not a sponsored video, there are no additional payments. Actually this channel has its own sponsor, and that's the Polymaker. This is fast, fully enclosed Corex 5 3D printer with a maximal bit volume of 250 mm in X, Y and Z direction. Fast reached the max speed of 600 mm per second with a recommended max speed of 300 mm per second. And now the most interesting specifications for me: 44 decibels quiet print mode, and in standard mode 46 decibels. And I checked their website again, so this definitely may be true because they didn't mention from which distance they measure this. I will do my testings too, but I will measure from half-meter distance. This is my standard measuring distance, and with this data will be comparable with others which I did in earlier videos. The maximum temperature on the nozzle is 320 degrees Celsius, which is good because there are few technical filaments which require this higher temperature, and the maximal holdback temperature is 120 degrees Celsius. And just a reminder, in Europe on Bebo Lab it is 110 degrees Celsius. Now there is a small drawback. It looks like it is equipped with the brass nozzle by default, but theoretically this nozzle change should be very easy. Now the combo arrives with the Ace Pro, which is Anycubic color engine, and it is equipped with 200 watt PTC heater. This means we can use it for the drying too. And with this the Kobra S1 may be a great printer for the PETG materials too. Now I couldn't find information what is the maximal temperature of this dryer, but I will do my own measurings. And about the firmware, it used some kind of Kobra OS, which is very similar to Clipper, but theoretically it cannot be Clipper because in that case it should be open source. But let's see what's in the box. The packaging is good, and by holding the bag we can take it out from the box. And the Ace, or the color changing system, is inside the printer. And it's held by a big plastic part. Was it really necessary? Maybe they could solve this a little bit better to have less waste here. This is the content of this smaller box. We have some spare parts here, USB drive, two power cables. One is for the printer and the other is for the Ace. And we have some additional hardware and cables for this multicolor system. This is the air filter and the spool holder in case you don't want to use this multicolor system. And unfortunately it goes to the back side of the printer. Now let's check this Ace multicolor system. So we have a fast printer, multicolor system, and then we have 10 meter sample filaments. Okay. What I like with this unit is that not only that it can be heated, but we don't have buttons. We just insert the filament and it will grab it. This is the space for the desiccant. Okay. We have to pull all three in the same time, not too comfortable for the use, but we have a lot of space here. They could include some desiccant with the packaging. The installation of the EMS is finished. The trickiest part was inserting these tubes, but you can always pull out these elements, so it is much easier then. I really like that the screen is adjustable. Let's turn it on. Connected even to 5 GHz network, great. After the connecting to the network, I can add the printer to my app by scanning this QR code. Complete. Printer is added. And now following these steps, but off camera, and then I can start with the printing. The whole process will take 10 minutes. Input shaping and these vibrations are normal during this testing. And this is the last step in this configuration. This was really finished in 10 minutes. By the way, this is on very bad position. I mean, this USB drive sticks out quite a lot. Maybe it is good to use some kind of smaller one. Now let's insert some filaments, bamboo plus cement, I know sunlu, new one, old one. And what I really like with this unit that I can do this with one hand because I'm holding the camera with the other. Print surface is two-sided texture PI sheet and it has these grooves for better aligning. Here I have to define white filaments are in the holder. Also here we can enable the drying. And here we can set the temperature. But no drying so far. Oh, we can see a lot of test models prepared. Benchy for PETG, PLA, these are slow printings. And this is the fast Benchy, 15 minutes. Okay, start printing, we will see. Aha, okay. I think this is for the fast printing the best. It starts with the purging and cleaning the nozzle. Oh. Oh, I forgot that I will need a poop collector here. Oops. The start is good, but we don't have nice view to the nozzle from this big cooling part. Now it's printing on a full speed. I think this is the third or fourth layer. Only after a few minutes the printing is at 50% and now we have better view to the nozzle. But about this light, it would be better if the light would be here on the side, because now we have quite big shadow from the hot end on the printed object. Default settings for this speed Benchy. This filament is quite old, stored on open air, 1 year at least, but there is no stringing, so yes, quite good quality so far. It is so hard to imagine that few years ago we needed at least 2 hours for this kind of the Benchy, and this one will be printed in 15 minutes. Had I varied the temperature, now it is 200 degrees Celsius on the chimney of the Benchy. Isn't it cheating? Okay, bed adhesion check. Okay, it's good. I will wait until it cools down. I'm waiting the bed to cool down and wanted to check the temperature. This is the home screen and I cannot see the temperature of the nozzle end on the bed. This is for the drying. Okay, here I can see, but it would be good to see here on the start screen. So bed temperature 34 degrees Celsius. Perfect. I wanted to print the slow Benchy too, but even with this I'm super happy with the quality. Just few strings there on the top inside the cabin, but otherwise absolutely no issues with this Benchy. Printed in 15 minutes. Another small issue, I cannot see the end of the file names. For example, here I cannot see what is at the end of this file name. It would be good to have some kind of scroll text here. Advantage of using Chinese file names, we can see the end of the file name. Disadvantage, well, for me, I cannot understand it. For next printing, I let my daughter to choose one. Press it. Start printing. Which color you want? Start printing. I get the orange one, okay. This printing starts with a lot of small contact areas, and unfortunately they are not visible because of the shadow. So that's why I mentioned that it would be good to have some additional lamp on this high. Quite different set temperatures compared to the Benchy printing, but probably in the future I will use 60 degrees Celsius on the bed, just in case. Printing will be finished in 1 minute and looks okay, but I will wait until the bed cools down and then I will remove the object. Printed in 47 minutes and the bed cooled down, and it is one of those rare printers which have quite standby position. Big plus from my side. Great, and it's flexible. But was this brim really necessary? It's really annoying, it's very hard to remove it in these gaps, and if I would slice the object, I would never use the brim. Just one last printing prepared by Anycubic, a Spyder, because I want to use different colors. Oops, don't use old brittle filaments. The filament is broken. I just unplugged this Teflon tube here and I could remove the filament. It's plugged again and ready for printing. This will be a short 20-minute printing. Again that brim. But otherwise, nice printing. It's clean, but I have the feeling that they set zero distance between the brim and the object. But it's time to prepare the slicer and slice my own G-code. The name of the software is Anycubic Slicer Next. Setting the yellow filament from the ACE. It is very similar to Bamboo Studio or Orca Slicer. Polymaker Scientist will be the first object, and I'm uploading the G-code over the network. Printing is at 30% and it will be finished overnight because it's quite late here. Good morning, printing is finished. It's already removed when it completely cools down. Not bad. This is also very old filament, I can see a few stringing, and I also noticed that this blue filament is again broken, so definitely it will not go into this color changing unit. PLA Meta by Sanlu, not for color changing systems. I will replace it with the Matter Hackers black filament. Piece of filament stuck inside and I cannot move this. I removed these two bolts from this side. Now I can see the problem. Okay. I still have some filament broken inside the Teflon tube, so I have to remove this bottom part. I'm suffering with this maybe 1 hour or even more, and only now it's out. Okay. And there it is, I can see the blue filament inside. It even has screws below these legs. And this power plug is loose, it is not even screwed to this plastic, it is just held by this plate. I restarted the printing and the same problem. And how much I could notice that the filament stuck somewhere here in this hub, because it pushed the filament until here and then I cannot see on the other side. I'm pushing the filament with my hand, but it's not appearing on the other side. I finally find the problem. Piece of blue filament stuck in this hub. There is the guilty material. With screwdriver I could push those holders and I could take out this first part and then I can remove the filament inside. But this is also not designed to be removed by the user. Just a quick check and the filament path is clear now. Okay, it finally works, but definitely this is very poor design and not designed to be disassembled and assembled regularly. These screws are for the plastic self-tapping screws. This is not designed to be removed and assembled several times. Some screws are below the glued legs. Maybe the Ace Pro. Pro is the name for the professionals who knows how to handle these problems. For example, the AMS, the old version, I can disassemble, let's say, in 10 minutes, but it is also not so easy. The AMS2 is designed to be exactly better for this kind of problems. Here, okay, this was the first time, but I needed 1.5 hours. Until I like the printer so far, this Ace Pro needs really better design. It's finished. It is very simple printing, but again they use the brim. Okay. And it's time for the bed leveling test, but I have to clean the surface from my fingerprints. So far the start is good. It's finished and this is how it looks like on the build plate. Now let's remove it. Not bad. There are some gaps in this corner, but with the second layer this will be perfectly fine. Like piece of paper. Later I will check this with the ABS filaments too, with high bed temperature. It's time for the color printing. These penguins are already printed earlier, they require 3 colors, but my daughter always gives this to her guests and I have to print more. I even got the warning to enable the supports, you will see the results later. And this requires more than 7 hours. Analyze this table a little bit if you are new to this to see how much additional waste material and time you will need for the color printing. It started but with black filaments, so I cannot really see anything at the beginning. It's pulling back the black filament and it will start with the white now. And this whole process is quite slow because it has a longer puffer line of the Teflon tube, like the AMS, because AMS light is better in this case. This is the first purge material and I will see if the default settings are enough, because I'm not sure if it's orange enough, but we will see later. Of course this can be changed in a slicer, but I'm curious about the default settings. With my daughter we are going to the playground, but I can supervise the printing over the app. Let's check camera. The printing is at 38% and the rest 4.5 hours will be printed overnight because it's midnight here. This is a time-lapse video of, let's say, 20 minutes, just to feel the ratio between the printing time and the filament changing time. Approximately for the filament change it needs 2 minutes, sometimes even more if it's purge more material, for example with the white color. Good morning. Printed in more than 8 hours, but it was finished. Only when I was editing the footage, I noticed that I forgot to enable the supports on the hands, but it's surprisingly good. And the quality is good. This is marble PLA, so that's why we have those gray marks there. Okay. This is the purge tower, and this is the amount of the purge material, and I would have the same amount if I would print 1, 6 or 36 penguins. 109 grams of the purge material, 26 grams. Now you understand why I don't like these color materials. Quite a lot of waste we have with this. If possible, then print more than one object at a time. And for example, when I think it is worth it, try to print some smaller objects. A great example when it is worth using this color printing. This is the card holder for my wife, but also printed this for every colleague in her office. Let's move to the PETG printing. This is by Polymaker. I'm preparing another brass insert video, and these are the test objects. I will test different temperatures and inserting speeds, and I want to have different materials, so this will be from the PETG. And mostly I'm curious here what will be the bed adhesion when the bed cools down. The bed is 44 degrees Celsius. Okay, perfect. And from the bottom layer I can see that the Z offset is set correctly on 75 degrees Celsius, but now let's move to the ABS. Polymaker Polylite ABS, this one is in green color. It goes into the second slot. And of course for this printing, the doors will be closed. And it's quieter now. The start is good. This is still the first layer. Texture PR sheet without any glue on it. I will try to measure the chamber temperature somehow. I'm not sure if you can see the position of the sensor, and the temperature inside is 50 degrees Celsius, which is good enough for the ABS. Bed adhesion check until it's hot. Okay. The temperature cooled down to 77 degrees Celsius. I wasn't here, but it's good. And no warping at all. And as I mentioned, full bed leveling test with the ABS, and the bed temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. Looking good so far through the glass, but I will analyze this later when it's printed. It's finished, but I have to wait until the bed cools down. But it looks okay to me from here. Wow, I didn't expect this. I wasn't even home, and until that it completely cooled down and shrinks, and it removed from the bed. Not perfect, and maybe it would be better if I would remove this earlier, but I tried this only several times, and so far this one is the best, which I tried with the ABS material. Another color printing which I need. This is the figure which I ordered from the JLC 3DP. This is from image, resin color 3D printing, and since I got the STL for the confirmation, I printed this. For my daughter, just to have something to play with. And she hated this. I had to throw out this actually, because it looks like her head is big, but actually it is hair. So I tried to print this, but hair in a different color. I'm using the coloring tool in the slicer. The base is orange and the hair will be black. I tried even to color the eyes, but somehow I wasn't too happy with it and I didn't dare to color them, so I left them in a different color. I'm printing this with 0.16mm layer height. Printing time will be 5.5 hours with the 114 filament changes. Waste material will be 65 grams and the objects 14. Good morning. The printing is finished in 6 hours. Of course, not even close to this resin color printing, but definitely much better compared to the single color printing. About the dryer, the max temperature is 55 degrees Celsius. I am missing here the humidity sensor, and it's quite noisy. The noise from half-meter distance is approximately 45 decibels only from the dryer. According to its own sensor, it reached those 55 degrees Celsius in approximately 15 minutes, but let's try to measure that. Position of the sensor approximately 60 millimeters above the entering hot air, and the temperature inside is 53 degrees Celsius, which is good. 54. 55 degrees Celsius doesn't sound much, but don't forget you can dry during the printing because you will always dry better the outer loops. So good practice is to dry the filament, let's say on 70-80 degrees Celsius separately, and then you can start the printing and dry the filament on 55 degrees Celsius, which is very useful for very long printings. Let's measure the noise from half-meter distance. Approximately 61 decibels. And if the doors are closed, around 50. But of course for PLA this has to be opened. This filament which gives me so much headache is broken again, and I notice if I bend it, it will be broken in, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes. And this gives me idea to test all my PLA filaments which I stored on open air, to create some kind of holder, to bend them, let's say, 20 mm radius, and to see when will they break. What do you think? Overall, I like the printer. The print quality is very similar to the bamboo printers. Out of the box it is ready for the ABS filaments, and additionally we have a filament dryer inside this box. One thing I don't really like here, and that if we have to disassemble this Ace Pro, in that case that work is much bigger than it should be. So be careful which filaments you will place inside. That's why I want to prepare that test to see which PLA filaments are multicolor system friendly. And if you have some suggestions for the test, you can write me a few lines down in the comment section. And thank you for watching this video, and wish you happy printing.